Hey everyone, this is Deepak and welcome to this new video. And in this video, I want to talk about something that is very interesting when it comes to prospecting on social media. And in today's video, we are going to talk about LinkedIn platform. So the key theme of this video that I have experienced personally and also helped over 500 financial advisors, and what we have learned is the following, and we are going to talk about that today. So the result that you get on LinkedIn, which essentially is, appointments and client, is going to come from the work that you do outside of LinkedIn. So hear me out correctly. So the result that you will get on LinkedIn is fully and entirely dependent on the work that you do outside LinkedIn. So now let me just kind of dig deeper into what I mean. So most people are trying to use LinkedIn to drive business growth, right? So if you're a financial advisor, then you're trying to get appointments to get retirement, financial planning client, perhaps some insurance and tax strategies and so on and so forth. So LinkedIn is unanimously used as a platform to do business. And the company LinkedIn also have branded the entire platform against the other social media platform as a business professional networking platform. So that means everybody who is on LinkedIn essentially have, or at least the greater majority of the people are there to do business. And for that reason, there is this misconception that when you go on LinkedIn, you are going to be able to generate business. And that is kind of what I felt 5 years back when I started using LinkedIn platform, right? I felt, well, there are people out there. At that point, I was prospecting tech, CEOs, before we started focusing on financial advisor in 2018. So I thought, well, I can find these people, I can start to do some business. But, the reality was further from that. It's not as, simple as what people think it is. So over the course of last 4 years, since we have, figured out what we have been doing on LinkedIn that is working, we find that a lot of energy that we invest to drive business from LinkedIn comes from the work that we are doing outside LinkedIn. And what I mean by that is the following. So first of all, LinkedIn is a great platform. We love it. And in our case, at the time of making this video, we have done like 13 or 1400 appointments, proper business appointment from LinkedIn. And from there, we have had a decent chunk, almost like 30-40% people have converted into our clients. So clearly we have seen LinkedIn to be a very profitable platform and very good platform because it allows you to create your brand and everything. But you can't just go and use the tools that LinkedIn provides to drive the growth. So the mistake I see most people make is they go on LinkedIn, and here's what people do. So they go on LinkedIn and first of all, they just create a profile, which obviously it is important to do, but some people don't even do that well. Then you go and start finding people, you connecting with people, and at that point you start messaging people, which is really one of the most important part of LinkedIn platform. The most important part of LinkedIn is the messaging, portion of LinkedIn, because that is what produces meeting. Now, here's what is going to happen, right? Every month you will start to add hundreds of people to, your LinkedIn connection pool. And you might start sending messages. And I see this all the time. People get excited. You start sending messages. You start spending hours to connect. Some people use automation tools to do that. And all that is fine. You start connecting with people, messaging people. But then very quickly the number adds up. You start to get 200 people, 300 people, 500 people, 1,000 people, and so on and so forth. And then what happens? You're not able to keep track. And at that point, when you go back to the LinkedIn messaging window, which is like the most important thing as I said before, you are lost. You don't know who I need to follow, who is really interesting. And then you have to read the messages, you have to look into this, and you may have to look at your notes and so on and so forth. And this is a problem I faced literally in 2018, 2019 timeframe. So in the beginning, I said, well, let me start with Google Sheet, Excel sheet, and I started there. because I quite didn't understand the depth of what is required to convert a total stranger into a client. So we had the Excel sheet that we created with a whole bunch of data that we started to track, like who was responding and so on and so forth. And that kind of helped us because LinkedIn clearly doesn't have proper tooling. You see, LinkedIn as a platform is a social media platform. It's not intended to be more of a CRM tool or lead generation tool or marketing automation tool, right? It is a tool to have social interactions and build your brand. Now, the Sales Navigator, you might think, well, that's a solution. Unfortunately, it is not. So over the last 5 years, I have seen LinkedIn try to add lead list and this capability and this features. And they've tried various different things. But again, it's not really what you need to convert. So in our case, almost we don't use any of LinkedIn capability that they provide. The only reason we use LinkedIn is to search and then we connect and then we message, right? Which is like the very basic features. So our first journey was to convert into Excel file, and that kind of helped us. We were starting to keep track of certain people and it allowed me to book some meetings. But the moment you start to go over 1,000, 1,500 people and like 2-3 month window, then that breaks. So then we broke the whole tracking sheet model, and then I ended up looking into some CRM tools out there in the market and something simple, lightweight. And that kind of helped us a lot because that was like really the main part of these tools had a lot more advanced feature to track the journey. Because here's the journey that people have on LinkedIn. You're going to search and send invitation. So they go from invitation all the way to connections, and then you send message, and some will respond, some will not respond, and then some will get into conversation. After that, some will get cold, some will be interested in meeting, most will not book meeting, some will book meeting, and then some people won't show up for the meeting, and then some will show up, and some of those will have follow-ups. Some people will become client, most will not become client. And in this process, there might be some people that are not interested, some people might yell at you, which obviously you'll see over time. And this is really what happens on LinkedIn. So you need tools to track. So we were able to use third-party tools for a long time. But then the moment you start to cross 3,000 and 4,000 connections, which would happen over the course of a year if you do LinkedIn properly, then we found that broke. Now, most people still can sustain that, but we like to do things at a different level. So in our journey, we ended up building our own software. And as you see below, here's what it looks like. And here's how we track the journey. And as you see, it's so methodical. We are able to kind of move people. Our system is able to automatically detect some of these capability. And with artificial intelligence, we are able to start do a lot more. The reason I started to build this tool is because there's no tool, no CRM tool in the market, and there will be none in my view, that understands LinkedIn process, the conversations, the tracking data, the metrics of what percentage people will convert. So we have a whole dashboard that we built here, as you can see. And this dashboard allows us to really understand if our campaigns are working fine or not. So we spend a lot of time in these tools. And the biggest thing that you need on LinkedIn is to drive conversations. You need to be able to have conversation. And this is where we have done a lot of research and R&D. And it's a continued area of investment from me and my company. And we have found great success. And I had a financial advisor. The largest case we have seen was a $2.5 million AUM using a similar process. Searching carefully, engaging person in a proper conversation, no sales pitches, no coffee chat, no like you refer me and I refer you kind of stuff. We go straight into talking about issues that people are having. And from there we brought a $2.5 million retirement client. The second largest was $1.7 million, where one of the advisors, she did that. And we have seen several from 150 to 900K to 1.1 million, 450K. We have seen insurance deals. So we have seen all of this thing, right? And the conversation is powerful. And we found that the CRM tools that we have tried using, there simply was no way to put the data of conversations. And the words that people use in the message back to you says a lot. So the word science kicks in at that point. And that is really the most important piece. So in our case, the reason we have been able to generate appointments, and we continue to do so, is because we spend a lot of time outside LinkedIn by tracking people, by making decision on what we want to send them using the templates that we have created. And that leads to a sustainable and a systematic process of lead generation. So I know people talk about follow-ups and fortunes in the follow-up and all that, but when you ask them, how do you do that? The systems that exist today are not very powerful. It's not designed for social prospecting. And hence, we ended up creating Fintello, which is our product to help individuals and advisors charter LinkedIn. So again, I just want to summarize it. The results that you get from LinkedIn will come from the work you do outside LinkedIn. And in the absence of that, you might get lucky and you might get some people talking to you, responding to you and all that. But I'm talking like prospecting, over a period of time. Like in our business, we have done 4 years of consistent prospecting, booking anywhere between like 10 all the way to 50 meetings in a month. We've had some months we did that. And being able to track that. So today, we have about 16,000 LinkedIn connections that we have added, and we are growing. And in this case, in our case, it's all financial advisors. And we, on a click of a button, are able to see who's not interested. On a click of a button, we are able to go back and do a follow-up campaign on people. And this is the work that we do outside LinkedIn. We don't even spend any time on doing anything on LinkedIn in terms of housing data or creating intelligence. LinkedIn is very simple for us. We use it to search, we use it to message, we post some content. That's the value the platform brings to us. But if you don't have this back end engine, then you're not going to get results. And I say this from experience, and we have seen it, and we continue to invest a lot of time, energy, and money in creating the place where you need to spend a lot of time. So our day starts by looking at our system. So we come here and look at dashboard, and then we created this beautiful action filters. You click, and we know who should we follow up. And then when you go there, we now have beautiful templates that we are able to test over time, and then we use that. And that allows us to create a very sustainable LinkedIn process. Like, we don't use LinkedIn as a numbers game, connect with a whole bunch of people and hammer them pretty hard with message or anything like that. We use it in a very long-term approach. We want people to have good experience connecting with us. We want people to learn through our content. And then we want people to be able to speak with us to get help. So I hope this helps. And again, if you've been trying to grow your practice or business with LinkedIn, then give some thought to the thing that I said. And if you need any help, feel free to reach out, and we'll be happy to give you a trial of our software or any which way we can help you. So I hope this helps. Talk soon.